Hmm. Grand and glorious rising to my transforming love, community, family, and friends. This is the day that the Lord has made, so we are going to be glad in it. Ooh. Welcome. Welcome to our last Sunday in the month of power. And I just want to acknowledge Reverend Tia, Reverend Bonnie, and Reverend Royce for just being the light. Just it's plain and simple. Just being the light. This is also a Memorial Day weekend. And as we gather with family and friends to celebrate those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country, we also remember many of our family members and friends who are also hanging out in the angel realm. And I'll just want to share a few things with you about Memorial Day that I really just learned myself. That on tomorrow, if you fly flags, and I know many of you do, they are to be at half staff until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you raise them to full staff. At the 3 o'clock hour, it is befitting to take a moment of silence for all of those who gave their lives. So at 3 p.m., if you remember, just take a moment of silence to acknowledge and honor all of those who sacrificed for this country. And have a wonderful Memorial Day with your family and friends. I'd like to thank a spirit by the name of Shahira Stevens, knowing that no matter where she is and no matter what she's doing, I know, we know that the hand of God is upon her. I'd like to thank each and every one of you within the sound of my voice who honors Transforming Love Community enough that you take out time. You take out time every Sunday. You take out time every Monday for Soak Monday. You take out time on Wednesdays. You take out time on First Fridays. You take out time. You choose to be with our Transforming Love Community family. And I really, really, really thank you. I thank you. I thank you. So as you come in, if we can just center ourselves. Close your eyes and just imagine. Imagine a world where you stand fully in your power. Imagine. Imagine. Imagine a world where everywhere you go and everything you do, there's evidence of peace and joy and love present. Just imagine. Just imagine. I want you to imagine that all the things that your heart desires is only a thought away. Oh, just imagine. And I want you to imagine that in those thoughts, you hold the power to create the life that you desire. Oh, can you imagine? Now take a deep breath, and I want you to exhale. I want you to breathe in everything God is and everything, exhale everything unlike God. You are just a thought away from all of the power, all of the love, all of the peace, all of the wisdom, all of the faith, all of the, all. And when I say all, I mean all that God has in store for you. You're a thought away. So the question becomes, what are you thinking? What are you holding? Hmm. Take one more deep breath. And come and walk with me through the levels of your consciousness. I know I am real clear that all of you who are familiar with Transform and Love Community, that you recognize the levels of consciousness. And we've been taught that the unconscious, the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious are the levels of our consciousness, but I want to get a little bit more personal with them today. I want to bring those levels down to um, the heart level today so that there's no question where you are at any given time. I want to thank my brother Royce, Reverend Royce, for last week. You know, Royce is so demonstrative in his expression of God and how God works within him. We just know he wants to leap into the screen. So I called him afterwards. I said I was leaping for you, Reverend Royce, because I felt at the core of my being everything that he was saying. And he gave me a divine setup because one of the things Reverend Royce said last Sunday, he said, you can only respond to any given situation or event to your level of consciousness. And that just sent a chill up my spine because many of the things that we see in our world and in um, our personal worlds, I'm going to bring it personal this morning, is because of the level of consciousness that we hold. So Jay and I are going to roll through these levels of consciousness. I already know that you got a pencil and a piece of paper ready. You don't even have to, I don't even have to tell you. Are you ready? Because you know what? Transform and Love Community stays ready. All right. So, Jay, if you can pull up the first slide. And there is power in your levels of consciousness. In those four levels of consciousness lies your power at any given moment, with any given event or circumstance. It lies, your power, your power, your power lies in your level of consciousness. All right. So let's get started. Let's get started. So, what we want to do is know how to navigate through these level of consciousness that in every moment we attach our own context to the content of life. That means whatever we are thinking and whatever our level of consciousness is at the time, it is how we respond to the content of life. So If you deem something bad, no matter what it is, that's what it's going to be. If you deem it good, whether it is or not, because God says, count it all joy, that's what it's going to be. So these contexts are in constant flux. They are constantly moving because you are energy and there is a flow of energy at all times. At all times, we use this power to navigate our world. And while moving through these states of several times through the course of the day, we will move through them. You can start off in the unconscious realm, and in a moment's time, whatever it is, you may have an aha moment, you will immediately shift into the conscious realm. And that can happen many, many times through the course of the day. All right. All right. Maybe it says hours, it could be minutes. All right. It could be minutes. So just be mindful that a shift can happen. All right. A miracle can happen at any time because the Course in Miracles says that a miracle is only a shift in perception. All right. Okay, Jay. So I want to talk about the four levels so that we can get a full view, a bird's eye view, if you will, of what they are. All right. And we're going to break them down and make them personal. So I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me. So the first level of consciousness is to me. Things happen to me. And if I live there all of the time, that means that I am living in victim consciousness. All right. The second one is by me. That means I have a responsibility and I partnership with the presence of God that I can create the life that I desire. And I am responsible. I am responsible to everything that I am presented with. Responsibility that I take for myself. The third level is through me. That's when we totally surrender to the presence of spirit. Totally give ourselves up. We don't have any control over what comes. We woke up this morning, that was a gift. Everything else that comes to us, we have to surrender because it is. You can't say, I just can't believe that they're doing that. I can't believe that happened. I can't. Well, believe it because it's in your world. So just surrender. And we surrender because we know that God is ultimately in control. And the fourth level of consciousness is the the as me consciousness. As me. That's when I have reached a level of consciousness where I feel that I am in oneness with God. As Reverend Kendra would say, the Spirit, the Father, and I are one. Now, we would all love to live in that level of consciousness all the time, but we know that that is not being realistic. So we're going to talk about what these levels mean and how we navigate through them for our best advantage. All right? All right, Jay. So the first level of consciousness is the to me consciousness. Life happens to me. Life happens to me. We stand in a state where I'm just here and life is going to expose itself to me. It's going to do what it does or whatever it is. And I'm just going to be a victim of it. All right. All right. We are at the will and the effect of life, no matter what happens, be it good or bad. And those are judgments. We're at the whim of it. The cause is always outside of us, no matter what it is. It's always outside. It's always what they're doing. It's always what they did. It's always what comes up at any given point in time, but it is always outside of us, right? And our moods are constantly being dictated by life's ups and downs, always being dictated. No matter what's going on, you fall into the trap and you fall into the wahala of whatever's going on. It's almost like schlep rock. I know I'm telling my age. Oh God, I'm telling my but I always tell my age. I don't have no problem with that. Schlep rock on the Flintstones. There was always a cloud over his head, and he was always complaining, woe is me, woe is me. This is the level of the to me consciousness. And it is truly the classic victimhood state. But those of us who know the truth knows that the Course in Miracles says that I am not a victim of the world I see. So you are not. Therein lies the truth. Therein lies the truth. All right. And as we move through these levels of consciousness, guess what? You are always at choice. So if you find yourself in the to me state of consciousness that life happens, and it can happen in a moment. I don't care how highly conscious you believe that you are. It can happen in a moment because let me raise my hand. It happened to me. It happened to me. Even me, Lord. Even me. All right, Jay. Come on. The second level is the by me state. I make life happen. You make life happen. We make life happen. And this is a personal responsibility and creatorship state of consciousness. That means that you have acknowledged that you have the power and you have a responsibility. You have power to create. That's this level of consciousness. We choose how to respond to outside forces. There's so much going on right now, and you can deem it bad or good if you want to, but guess what? You don't have to respond in a way where it shifts everything that you are and everything that you do. It doesn't have to shift. You become an observer to life. All right? Our moods will not be dictated by life's ups and downs. All right? We live in an oh well, oh well, oh well. My word for this year is okay. When it happens, if it doesn't seem favorable or you don't deem it favorable or whatever it is, it happened, you say, okay, because here it is. But we choose how we respond to it. You can respond to it in love, you can respond to it in peace, you can respond to it in joy. We get to choose how we respond to the external sources and forces that we are presented with. Our moods won't change. This is a go mode of consciousness where we also get to choose how we create our reality. You are a creator. You are a co-creator with God. So now, when you are a co-creator of God, and that makes you in a majority, all right? Because anytime you are in partnership with God, you are in the majority. There is nothing that you can't do, nothing that you can create. Look around you right now where you are, wherever you are. If you're out in nature, if you are out, if you're in your home, look around. Everything you see, someone created it. They co created it with spirit. They had a thought. Remember, I told you at the beginning, It's your thoughts. They had a thought that, wow, God said, let there be light, and he created the moon and the sun. So guess what? He empowered us to take it another step. And now we can flip a switch and a light will come on. We can light candles and the lights come on. We are creating a reality for ourselves that is in alignment with the Spirit of God. If you choose it to be, if you choose it to be. And this is the classic empowerment state. You are empowered, you are endowed, you are granted powers. And many of us, I hate to say, are not implementing the God given powers that we were given. We still play the victimhood role where everything happens to you, but you have the power to be in the I make life happen state of mind. All right. The next state, Jay, is the through me level of consciousness. I cooperate with life happening. That means, look, it's all God. So let me flow with God. How about that? Let me be in that flow that I can cooperate and I can move and I surrender to the present moment. We keep trying to control everything. Well, guess what? We really are not in control of anything. We may think that we are, but we really aren't. And every time we keep trying to make things happen, as opposed to creating, being in a creative state, we will find ourselves in a state of flux. All right. So, in the through me level of consciousness, we surrender to the present moment. We surrender. And it's not a surrender where we give up or we give in. That's not the type of surrender that we're talking about. It's an allowance. It's an allowance to allow spirit to come through me and work in me. All right? We are merely vessels in which the universe enacts itself. That's all. That's all. Can you be an open vessel? Is the question. Can you be an open vessel to allow spirit to work through you? Can you have the level of thought, the Christ mind, if you will, where you are always in a state of higher thought, higher emotion, higher action? That's where you go all the time. You surrender and you become a vessel, an open vessel, if you will. So that allow the universe to enact itself within you. There is a sense of flow and things happen naturally. Have you ever been in the flow? I can hear Francine now. Fran would say, "Ooh, glow with the flow." Just go with the flow. Because when you are in the flow of spirit, you glow. You absolutely glow from inside out. Everything comes to you easily and effortlessly and under God and under grace. There's a movement within you that's not restricted by anything, not by anything. So glow with the flow. Glow with the flow. This is a state of impulse or gut feeling. All right. You know you have them. You've always had it where you get a gut feeling And you're like, mm, where we play in a dynamic dance with life. Life will always send you a warning. I'm not telling you something I heard somebody else say. I'm not telling you something that somebody else told me. I'm telling you what I've experienced. Because every time, and you've heard this phrase before, I should have followed my first mind. Okay. Well, that first mind was spirit talking to you. That first mind was the highest thought. That first mind was the highest emotion. But then we go off and we do something else. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about me, okay? Because y'all don't do that, right? Y'all don't do that. I do that until I recognized my power and my level of consciousness and how I can flow. All right. So when I get a gut feeling about something, I was like, ooh, let me wait. Because if you wait on spirit to give you your next most appropriate steps, you cannot go wrong. All right? You cannot go wrong. It is an impossibility that God will lead you somewhere where number one, you aren't supposed to be, and number two, that it is not for your highest and greatest good, and number three, for everybody and everything involved. It is an impossibility. So if you kind of glow with the flow and allow spirit to dance with you get into this being state of consciousness where you are being and flowing like spirit, where everything you feel, everything you think is on a level, a higher state of consciousness where nothing, nothing negative can penetrate it unless you make the choice for it. Because we're talking about choice consciousness here, y'all. We're talking about you making a choice to live in a level of consciousness that honors you. We're talking about living in a level of consciousness where you can stand fully in your power. That's what we're talking about. But you've got to know what these levels are so that you can begin to navigate through them at any given point in time. All right? So come on, Jay. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the as me consciousness. I feel like Reverend Royce. I want to jump up off my chair right about now. As me. That means life is me. Life is me. Everything that life has to give is me. It is a spiritual experience where there is a blurring of the personal self and a connection with oneness. That means that you act totally acquiesced with the oneness of God and not your ego. Ooh, I'm telling you. There is a freedom from separation and the dissolution of the egoic self. All of that falls away because there's no place for it. There's no place for it to be. There's no place for it to grow. There's no place for the egoic self to reside when you are in the as me state of consciousness. We can cultivate boundless love and appreciation where nothing, absolutely nothing is lacking. There is nothing that you need, and there is nothing that you want for. Absolutely nothing. Ooh, can you just feel it? There's a song by the Jacksons that say, "Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?" Mm-mm-mm. What a state. There's no need to alter where and who you truly are. No need. No need. There's no need for anything to change. There's no need for anything to shift. There's no need. There it it is. It is. There is a oneness with spirit where you abide in that state and you need nothing and you want for nothing. Mm. And yes, Dr. V, this is the state of the I am consciousness. The state of I am. I have always said that be mindful. Be mindful of what you place after your I am because it's so much power. It's so much power in that I am statement. You have to recognize it. Oh, I wish you would. I wish you would recognize the level of power in your I am statements because anything after I am is an affirmation and you are deeming that thing so. So when you say, I'm tired, then that's what you'll be. If you say, I'm broke, then that's what you'll be. But recognize that the universe does not distinguish broke. All right. So when you say you're broke, you will enter into a level of brokenness where it doesn't identify that it is a financial thing, that it is a physical thing, that it is an emotional thing. It can't dictate that. So what happens is in that I am broke statement, you can be brokenhearted. You can break limbs. All right. You can have a financial challenge. And so I've always said to you, if you say, and I hear people still in their level of consciousness say, I'm so broke. They even put a so in it. I'm so broke. So if it's financial, say, I am having a temporary cash flow problem. You have to begin to rephrase those things that disempower you so that they empower you. You see how that statement took back your power in terms of your finances? I'm not broke. I'm just broke, girl. I ain't got no money. I'm having a temporary cash flow issue that immediately put you back into your power. And it can happen like that. Remember at the beginning where I said you can fluctuate between these different levels of consciousness during any given course of the day. It may take a minute, it may take an hour, it may take a whole day. Many of us, some of us, it takes years to shift into these levels of consciousness or recognize that each level holds a certain power. So, in your state of the I am consciousness, there is nothing that you need do, nothing that you need have, not absolutely nothing but bask in the oneness of the Spirit of God. That's it. That's it. I remember years ago when Iyanla wrote In the Meantime. And she used an analogy of a house. And she leveled the house, the basement, the first level, the second level, and the attic. And pretty much as we have broken down these levels this morning, is where she started this awareness of this house. And we know that if we're living in the basement, we are living in victimhood. Everything is happening to us. So we're at basement level thinking. When we're on the second floor, which is our living area, all right, because that's where our living room is. That's where our dining room is, where we eat healthy meals. And that's where our kitchen is, where we cook healthy meals that we're going to ingest and digest. And that's where this is my den. This is where I do my daily spiritual readings. This is where the so-called Monday magic happens, y'all, right here behind me. Okay. So this is really my living area. This is where I live, and I share with my friends and my company when they come. And then the second level, because we know that we need rest, is where we do our resting and our rejuvenating. All right? That's where the bedrooms are, where we take rest. Because if you keep moving and moving and moving and moving and you don't rest, it's not going to work out well for you. Ask me how I know. Okay. And I know that many of you have a story that you could tell that we would know this to be true. So we must rest. We must rest and we must rejuvenate ourselves. And then it is the also the level that many of us have our bathroom on, where we bathe and we cleanse ourselves of the world, and we use it as a spa area where we just sit and use our candles and oils and whatever it is, and just treat ourselves to a spa moment. Where that's what I do. I hope you do that too. All right. So in my bathroom, I have a chair and an ottoman and a table, and I just spend hours. I can spend hours on my second floor. And then there's the attic, the highest spot of the house. And when we think in terms of the highest spot, that's where we want to live most of the time. That's when you find our sages and our prophets and our leaders. That's where in the attic, that's where uh Jeshua and Mother Teresa, and that's where those people of higher consciousness, that's where they reside, in the attic. Now I'm gonna be real with you. I don't always live in the attic. I'm striving. But baby, I have had some awesome attic moments. And I'm always striving to stay in that level of oneness with the Spirit of God. That is my intention. That is my most heartfelt intention, to live in the attic as opposed to maybe having attic moments from time to time. All right. We are desiring more of those moments, but we know that if we're not mindful, we will navigate through these different levels of consciousness, and it can happen with us not even thinking about it. Not even thinking about it. You've heard the stories of people leaving church and then having arguments outside in the church parking lot. Oh, I know you have. You've probably seen it. And Lord, you've probably been one of them having the argument in the parking lot. Okay. All right. I'm just saying. Sometimes we can go there, but we have to have a level of consciousness when we go there, and then recognize that you have just placed yourself in a basement moment. Recognize it. All right. And do some self-correcting in the moment. Can you do that? In that right now moment, say, ooh, please forgive me. I did not mean to go there. Please forgive me. And if you can't recognize it in the moment, as you go away and you sit with it for a while and you say, okay, I know what got me to that moment. I know what I need to do now to, first of all, do some course corrective action within me. And now, then move in my actions to do some correction with those that I may have offended. Recognize it. This is how we navigate. This is how we navigate through it. I put myself in a victimhood moment. I had our water department, bless their hearts, had been replacing pipes all over the city. And they just happened to replace our pipes when it was raining those, well, quite a few days. And what resulted was mud. Mud was everywhere. And everybody that came to the house, I told them how to navigate through the mud. Now go down this driveway and stay out the mud. Okay, come on. Well, oh, I was navigating them through it. House and ever. When I went out the door that day, I had a thought that if I just stepped on the patches of grass, that I would be okay. Mind you now that I've told everybody else how to navigate through the mud. I went out there and I stepped on a patch of grass in that rain, and what happened? Oh, I hit the mud. I hit the mud so hard. I hit the bad knee. Many of you all already know that I've had a knee issue since last year. And it was, oh my God, I was doing good. I was walking without the cane. I was hitting it on all cylinders. And what did I do? I re-injured that knee. And on top of that, sprained my wrist. So mind you, I'm laying there trying to figure out how do I turn or what part is going to start hurting while I'm laying here. And all the time I'm laying in the mud and it's raining on me. So I finally turned where I could get up out of the mud. All right. How many of you have been in the mud based on a choice you made? How many of you had to wallow in the dirt based on something you did? All right. I'm just saying. So I had to come back in the house. Now, by that time, I'm recognizing what's hurting. The knees hurting. The wrist is swollen. Now, oh, so I'm washing myself up, redress myself because I still have to run this errand. And it dawned on me that I took care of everyone else so that they wouldn't fall. And I did not. I did not use my own due diligence. I didn't. And look what happened. Let me tell you, I got the lesson immediately. Some lessons may take you a while, but baby, let me tell you, I got that lesson immediately. All right? Because that was a misthought. Maybe if I step on that patch of grass, I'll be up. That was a misthought because the patch of grass was surrounded by mud and I went down. Baby, I will always remember rolling around in the mud because of a misthought. Misthought. I will always remember that sprained wrist because of a misthought. Come on now. Don't want to look. And then all of the time after that, I was victimizing myself. You know better. You told everybody else. Da 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 da. What was you thinking? Da, da, da. And then I had to stop myself and recognize. Sometimes you just got to stop yourself. You just need to shut up and recognize what happened, how you got there. Recognize how you got there, and then say to Spirit, I got the lesson, and I will do better next time. And I will do better next time. I didn't want to continuously live in that state of victimhood. All right, beating up on myself because of the mud and the rain outside. But the thing that I recognized, that as I laid in the mud, the rain was washing it away. I'm telling you, God got jokes, y'all. Y'all know God got jokes. All right? God got jokes. Okay? So I just want you to know, always recognize where you are at any given moment and that you can make the shift in that moment. That's where your power lies. In recognizing your level of consciousness. And if you need to make a shift, make a shift. Make a shift. Okay, Jay. So this is what it looks like, y'all. This is what it looks like. At the lower left-hand corner, it is the to me. Life is happening to me. I was blaming the water department. Somebody say, well, are you going to sue the water department? No, no, because I done what I had told everybody else to do, I would be okay. All right. So life happens to me. That's the victimhood level of consciousness. In the lower right hand, it is the by me. It is we take total responsibility for our lives, total responsibility for our choices, total responsibility for our actions. We take total responsibility, knowing that we are in a co-creative relationship with the Spirit of God. And you can make life happen. You can make it happen. In the upper right hand corner, it is the through me level of consciousness where I am totally creating and I surrender to the Spirit of God. I surrender. I'm not in control. I surrender to God's will. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. And I live in the flow of Spirit. I surrender. And in the upper left hand corner, the as me. Life is me. This is the I am consciousness. This is where we experience the oneness with spirit. This is where we experience the Father and I are one. 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 Thank you, Heavenly Spirit. Thank you. Thank you. I love you, Lord. Thank you. You are me. Thank you. It is that level of how I think. And I just want to share with you the corresponding scripture, if I can share this with you, is Philippians 5. Think of yourselves the way Christ Jesus thought of himself. He had equal status with God, but didn't think so much of himself that he had to cling to the advantages of that status no matter what. Oh, you don't have to cling to it. You don't have to want for it. You don't have to need it. You already have it. The I am consciousness. Think the Christ mind. Think the highest thought. Think the highest, feel the highest emotion. Move on the highest actions. And if you can't do that, don't do anything. Stop until you get instruction. Hear me? Don't move until you get instruction. All right, Jay. So, in closing, there's no right or wrong when it comes to states of consciousness because that would be a judgment. But we may be able to find a new appreciation of life by taking note of which level of consciousness we are currently situated in, and then elevate ourselves beyond feeling the victim from life circumstances. Move out of victimhood, people. Just elevate yourself out of the victimhood by being aware of where you are. We can shift and elevate our communications. We can elevate our actions, and our connection to divine oneness and creativity will be elevated. Mm. We're elevating ourselves. We're standing in our power to elevate ourselves. So we no longer live the victim life. So we no longer live the victim life. So we stand in the oneness with God where we can truly say, there is nothing my holiness. Of course, the miracles tells us. All right, Transforming Love Community, global family and friends, we thank you. We thank you and we love you for spending time with us today. I thank you. I thank you that Reverend Shahira trusted me enough to turn her family, her baby, over to me. I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you. And as you go through your holiday weekend and as you go through this Memorial Day, as we remember those who sacrificed for our freedom, for our freedoms to live in this country, our freedoms, I want you to recognize that our freedom is on attack. Be mindful, be mindful, be aware. Our freedoms are on attack. Our rights are on attack. All right? Be mindful. So I want you to have a good time with your family and friends. Don't don't just remember those who gave their lives for this country. Remember your family members and friends as well. Know that you have angels working on your behalf at any given moment as we navigate through these levels of consciousness. And if you need to call on the angel, call on one. I call on mine all the time. Thank you. I want you to go your way rejoicing. I want you to be blessed like my angel Horace would say, go your way rejoicing, transforming love community. I want you to be blessed, but more importantly, be a blessing. I love you. Stay tuned for all of our announcements.